you start to become the song all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're fucking dead inside and you have no soul.
Yeah, well, I've been accused of that too. So,
So Jack, you've been with Exodus since '96. What was your story before joining Exodus? Were you in any bands that we would have heard of? What was your trajectory before Exodus called?
Yeah, I actually was just kind of a guy bumping around the Bay Area. I'd had a couple bands and never went anywhere. And in fact, I never even got to the point where we had a singer and we were a band. You know what I mean? And and then but I was kind of in the radius of all the people in the Bay Area, and so my friend Sean Smithson was trying out singing for a band, and it had a couple of the guys from Exodus in it, and he needed a ride. And I was like, well, whatever. I haven't met those guys before. And, and he was like, yeah, they're hella cool. Just come on out, and we'll hang out. And so I took him out, and it was Tom and Gary, and they were doing a band called War Dance. And their bass player wasn't there, and I took Sean out. Then again that week, bass player wasn't there, and I was like, well, where's your bass player? And they're all, oh, it's Mike Butler, who was the guy who played on the last Exodus record before me. And they're like, oh, he's in this band and this band, and he's in 6 bands. He doesn't come and he doesn't even show up and come and play. And I was like, well, fuck, I'll come every week, and I'm like, I'm not doing shit. I'll come play. That sounds good to me. I like it. And so Gary gave me the tape, and I ended up getting the gig, and Sean didn't get the gig. And
wow.
And so I was in War Dance with him for a couple years. We made a demo, and then when we were shopping it around, the best offer that we got was get Rick and Baloff back and do a live Bonded by Blood thing. And so that all just turned into Exodus with Rick and Baloff back in the picture. So wow. They asked Robbie if he wanted to do it, and he said he had no interest in doing it. And wow. So I was there. I was already tight with Tom and Gary, and I was in.
You were in those shoes already.
Yeah.
Good thing you're a nice guy. Good thing you're a nice guy and gave your buddy a ride to rehearsal.
Yeah, totally. And then totally usurped his gig.
Nice guy gets the gig, right?
Now he's in Exodus since 1996. That's
not always the nice guy that gets the gig, though.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So
I wanted to point out, because I'm definitely not an aficionado, but I have this the Bay Area and the scene there, and I talk about this on this podcast all the fucking time, that I have this obsession. Well, maybe that's a bit hardcore, but I'm attracted to, and always have been, certain scenes, the New York, Jersey scene, of course, the Texas scene, the LA area, and how it's very, as far as thrash goes, very incestuous with the Bay Area. And then, of course, the crown jewel, the Bay Area scene, and that, all of that shit, and how that sort of ramped up kind of like in an overnight sensation when, of course, Metallica started going up there, and then the whole Megaforce, and then the whole, Gary stepping in for Kirk, and that is so attractive to me. Just the whole Murder in the Front Row came out, and I was just like, this is like the Bible of what I'm attracted to. So, when you kind of squint and sort of look inside, 96, I mean, time flies. Dave, when you stepped in, that's what we were kind of talking about, is trying to grow old gracefully and still be attached to what we love and make sure that we still love it, right?
When you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah, right. Well, the whole point that I'm making in this long, elaborate, tear-jerking story is 96 is, in my brain, a flash. It's 10 years, but just after Exodus really kind of, Bonded by Blood comes out, and then like it 10 years later, you're in the band, and Exodus was kind of, I guess, over here cooling off, and War Dance is this thing. It's like that all is happening so fast, even though it's kind of 10 years after. Your journey from just kind of tooling around, playing in bands from probably, did you go see Exodus play in, 85 and 86 and 87?
I never caught Exodus. I was a little bit too young to, get out to the Bay. I was in a, kind of a strict home, and I was having to sneak out to smoke my dope and, and do my stuff. So that was a little bit far away. I had caught Megadeth and Testament and some of the other bands, but I hadn't caught Exodus. Yeah.
But as they say back in the day, you didn't get to catch them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to work with Paul.
Yeah. I was going to ask you.
That's kind of amazing because, the live fast, die young reputation, and you got to play shows with Paul.
Yeah.
That's sick.
He was real. Like all that shit, man. He was that guy, He was funny. I actually learned a lot from Paul though, too. Like I learned a lot about how people treat each other and stuff. Like he was a master of like people and their relationships between them, like wow. he was a manipulator of people as well. That's because he understood how people worked, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And so then that kind of turned him into the freeloader, that he was, like the kind of scavenger, freeloader that he was, because he knew how to navigate and survive. You know what I mean? He was pretty unique.
Yeah. I was going to ask you to tell us your best Paul Baloff story.
Yeah, real quick, that was a very nice way to say he was the guy living on your couch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, musicians have been live in infamy on people's couches.
For sure.
Until they don't. I mean, I'm guilty.
Yeah. He left a trail of bills all the way through the East Bay. Well, like I heard that when we gave him the call to come back, and that we were going to do that live record, he was living in a Airstream trailer down in Santa Cruz area. And he sold it to two different people and left town. They both showed up to get it at the same time, and they had to fight it out, and he was long gone with their money by then.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was a grifter like that. He was funny.
Wow.
Well, that's a great Paul story, but I don't know if that's what Dave was looking for.
No, I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? You're not, in my, I mean, you are and you're not, speaking ill of the dead, because obviously you have a good, you have a positive kind of like.
I bet Paul would be the first to admit it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we were it was so like wild, like when the band really got back together then in 97, and it was Paul and Rick, and, they were fucking crazy, man. Like they were fucking crazy, and they didn't think it was going to last. So they were like, like they were going into the Bay and like stealing shirts and going into the parking lot and selling them, like before the show. And buying fucking stuff to consume, and it was just absolutely out of control, like wild shit. It was so rock and roll. I loved it.
Wow.
Like I was like a kid. I was like I just got there and I was like, this is fucking killer. You know what I mean? It was funny, man. It was killer.
Right. You just joined the band and Paul comes back and the circus starts, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. It was out of control, man. It was fun.
I guess I didn't really know how, I don't want to give him any nicknames. I'm sure Paul had plenty of nicknames, but, but I mean, he's a professional shit starter.
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, yeah.
I guess I didn't really know that about Paul.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was. You know, I mean, really, like back in the day, even like before me, like those guys, you didn't like if they came to the party at your house was fucked. Like your house was fucked.
Okay.
Like they would kill. They would like Paul would like. Go into your dad's desk and take the pencils and the rubber bands and start like spear fishing the fish in the fish tank and like shit like that. Like they had just like nothing was safe. They would like just take all the food out and cook it all and not eat it and like that. I heard just crazy stories of
Wow.
they take the pictures and hang them up upside down and shit would get just destroyed. So
he comes by his reputation honestly then. All of them, yes,
yeah, all of them, yeah. Especially back then, they were just out of control.
I'm feel lucky that I missed some of his antics, to put it light. But I was lucky enough to meet him in '86, in October of '86. And
cool.
Obviously he wasn't in the band anymore, but he may have had Piranha or something at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was I think he was promoting shows at the MAB and at Broadway. On Broadway, he's doing that. I mean, promoting shows mean no one got paid.
You mean like running off with the box?
Yeah, no one got paid. Hey, how many tickets sold? Oh, okay, that's good. Can you hand me? Okay, cool. I'll see you tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ron Quintana set up some shows for Watchtower, and we played a couple of shows out there, and Paul was there hanging around, but I think he was there to get the money and leave. So, yeah. So